Hi, I am John from Recap 'Em, and today we will recap the horror comedy from 2023, Renfield. But be careful, there are spoilers ahead. In the beginning of the 20th century, the lawyer Robert Montague Renfield introduced himself to the Transylvanian vampire Count Dracula in an attempt to negotiate a deal for some land, but the Prince of Darkness had different plans for him. Dracula introduced Renfield into high society, took him to the theater and traveling to exotic places, and then eventually made him his servant. Renfield was given extraordinary abilities, a little portion of Dracula's powers, but instead of sucking blood like his master, to use them he needs to eat bugs. After Dracula was chased and attacked by a group of brave vampire hunters, the last of their kind, and trapped into a protection circle, Renfield could have left the monster locked away for the safety of all humanity, but he needed to save his master from such fate. At the end of the battle, Dracula was almost killed, and then master and servant started vaguing around the globe, hiding themselves and attracting victims to recover the powers of the vampire lord. They found shelter in New Orleans, and there, Renfield decided to join a self-help group of people that were suffering with abusive relationships, and his plan was to use the members to hunt out their abusers so he could kill them to feed his master without any resentment. He went to a warehouse after one of the abusers, the boyfriend of one of the members from the self-help group. There, they were hiding some drugs, stolen from a big drug dealer. Initially, the gang thinks that Renfield is someone sent by the owners of the drugs, and are pretty afraid. But when they find out the truth about the visitor, they start to laugh, and at this point, Renfield starts to teach them a lesson. During the fight, they are suddenly attacked by a hitman working for the Lobos, a crime family that is ruling the city, and owner of the drugs in the warehouse. After some real struggle, Renfield kills the assassin and tries to go after Teddy Lobo, the contractor, but he manages to flee in a hurry. While trying to run from the bizarre scene he was before, Teddy ends up on a sobriety checkpoint where Rebecca Quincy, who comes from a police officer's family and is already bored of having to deal with minor crimes that night, sees a chance to get revenge from what happened to her father. Teddy attempts to speed through the lines and escape from the cops, but gets his tires shot and is forced to stop the car. After exiting the vehicle, he starts to run and throw bricks of cocaine at the policeman. Rebecca chases after him and doesn't waste the chance to finally arrest a high-level criminal. Even severely injured due to the battle in the warehouse, Renfield takes the criminal corpses back to Dracula's lair in the basement of an abandoned hospital. His master then appears, in a form less degenerated than before, but he is disgusted by the criminals brought by Renfield. He talks to his servant about how important it is to him to feast on the blood of pure and innocent people like nuns and virgin cheerleaders, because that's the fastest way to regain his full power. At the police station, Teddy was suspiciously and easily released from custody, which drove Rebecca crazy because she was craving for justice against what the Lobos did to her father. At the corridor, she encounters her sister Kate, an FBI agent working on a large-scale case about the Lobos, and throws everything on her face, saying that Kate is not doing enough to go after the responsibles for their dad's death. While Renfield goes to a restaurant to kidnap the innocent ones his master awaits, Rebecca is also lured there by the clues from the warehouse's crime site, Renfield tries to leave, since the police presence would make his task a little hard to do, but the restaurant was stormed by the Lobos gang in an attack to teach Rebecca a lesson and re-establish their fierce reputation around the city. Teddy tries to provoke and scare her by saying things about her father, but Rebecca stood up and even made fun of him, inspiring Renfield. They start to defend themselves in a savage battle, killing a handful of gang members in the process, but Teddy manages to run away again. After being amazed by Rebecca's actions, Renfield decides to break free from his toxic relationship with Dracula, and after hearing what his self-help group has to say, he sets up an apartment and starts to change his life. He goes to the police station to try to become a little bit closer to Rebecca, but also to give a statement to help them in the investigation and give some clues to them to finally catch the Lobo crime family. Teddy is ordered by his mother, Bella Francesca, the leader of the crime family, to search for the man who slaughtered his henchmen at the restaurant. But while Renfield was away trying to put the teachings of the self-help group into work and tear apart from his master, Teddy searched the abandoned building and ended up having an encounter with Count Dracula. Surprisingly, when the vampire hears that Teddy is a criminal and belongs to an evil organization, they agree to form an alliance. Dracula finds out about Renfield's betrayal and goes to his apartment to confront his servant. During a long discussion about the whole act of treason, the vampire swears to go after everyone that Renfield has ever loved to make him suffer the consequences of being a traitor. After finding that Renfield's actions were guided by his support group, Dracula heads to the church. He introduces himself as the Prince of Darkness and starts to massacre all the members in front of his former servant, to teach him a lesson and leave him to live an experience worse than death, that is, seeing the entire human race suffering the same fate when he completes his plans to world dominion. Rebecca enters the place, finds Renfield surrounded by all the corpses, and arrests him, but she is betrayed by her partner, who is a corrupt cop, and calls the Lobo family to collect the one responsible for their recent losses. After discovering that a large part of the police force was controlled by the Lobos, Rebecca didn't want to hand Renfield over and makes a move. She gets shot and barely escapes alive from the scene. Rebecca wakes up on Renfield's apartment and finds out that he has saved her life, while he explains his true origin, confessing his mistakes working for Dracula and stating that he wants to change his life. But Renfield's address is discovered, and they are attacked by a group of the corrupt cops alongside the Lobos. And after another bloody fight, as the one that occurred in the restaurant, the two discover that Dracula has joined forces with the Lobos, and they kidnapped Rebecca's sister. In order to put an end to this rising evil empire, they decided to invade the Lobos headquarters and confront the bad guys. There, they find that several gang members, including Teddy, have gained the same Renfield's supernatural abilities, since Dracula shared his power with them. During another round of fighting, Renfield kills Teddy. Rebecca heads to stop the vampire lord, but she finds that her sister was beaten to near death, and only Dracula's blood can save her now. Dracula offers her sister salvation in exchange for Rebecca's loyalty. Rebecca tricks Dracula, and she and Renfield have a final confrontation with the Darkmaster. When they are almost defeated by the vampire, Rebecca manages to trap him in a magical protection circle. They beat up Dracula in many ways and finally tear him into pieces, dividing the tiny pieces of his body into concrete pieces and scatter across the sewer system to finally destroy him, or at least make it very difficult for him to recover. Later, Renfield resurrects the members of his self-help group with a portion of Dracula's blood that he saved and starts feeling empowered to build a new life. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos like this. Thank you for watching Recap 'em.